Okay. Welcome back to Hanging with Mangg. Episode 393. Closing in on the big 400. I don't think that's really a big milestone or anything. But it's pretty nuts. I mean, God. Every week for how many years now? Almost 8 years. I think I started it in a September, so I think in this September probably be 8 years. Pretty wild stuff. I'm not really sure what... I don't even remember really what caused me to start doing this series. I remember doing... I know the first episode... I think the first episode was Secret of Evermore I was playing. I think. I remember I was doing like a Dark Souls run through. I don't remember which one it was. But I was just playing through Dark Souls and doing a playthrough of it. But I was just like, the whole time I was chatting about like D&D and stuff, like a D&D campaign. And so that led to the creation of Role Manging, like a standalone series where I talked about that. But I don't remember what initiated Hanging with Mangg. Well, either way, it's a good weekly series. I like to keep it up. We're playing some more Elden Ring, of course. I think it's what we played last week on Hanging with Mangg, and usually I don't like to repeat like that, but honestly, this is pretty much the only game that I've been playing this entire week. Pretty much. I did beat it. The Let's Play is finished recording, finally. So thank goodness for that. But now I'm on this sort of second playthrough. I tinkered around with a bunch of different playthroughs, actually. I was like, okay, I could do this arcane build. I could do my sorcery build, which I kind of did in the Let's Play. I basically became sort of a sorcery build. I could do a pure faith build. But eventually I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. I just want to play through the game again, like... just normally, just like sword and shield, and maybe try some different weapons and different Ashes of War and stuff. But I also want to do throughout the Let's Play, pretty much for every fight I did, like I summoned Ashes of Spirit Ashes. So, like, especially later on in the Let's Play, I'm, like, summoning Spirit Ashes, and I'm doing some cheesy bullshit with sorceries, and, some of the bosses especially were just, like, super easy. Because I just really decimated them. So I just wanted to do a normal playthrough where I didn't summon anything and didn't use any magic. Just old school shit. So that's what I'm doing now. And yeah, it's definitely, you know, there's some challenges in there. Doing Margit, just me and him with no ashes, no NPC summon, no nothing. You know, it forces you to learn the fights, no doubt. So far it's been going pretty well. Anywho, so this week on this channel, Plenty of Elden Ring. Plenty of Elden Ring will continue. I don't know the exact final count for the Elden Ring videos. It's around 80. It's right around 80 videos, which is probably in total like 80 some hours. Maybe close to 90 hours, I don't know. So it's a big boy. It's going to take a long time to fully upload the Elden Ring playthrough. But I'm only going to record the one. You know, we were only recording the one. I'm not going to do different alternative playstyle playthroughs. It's just the one and then whatever DLC we get. So I mean, obviously, I love the game. It's pretty much a shoo-in for Game of the Year, and it's one of my favorite games of all time at this point. So, yeah, I mean, we're gonna give it proper respect and upload the entire full-length Let's Play. It's not quite 100% Let's Play. I'm not even quite sure if it's all bought. Fuck. I'm not even quite sure if it's all bosses. There may have been one boss. I think there was one dragon boss I didn't encounter that I've heard mention of. But it's fairly complete. Yeah. So I'm not at the point yet where I'm like insisting on daily uploads, just like every single day, no matter what, Elden Ring video. We're not quite at that point. But I probably should be at that point. Because even if we do one video every day, it's still going to take us over a month and a half from now to finish it. So, it's a lot. And right now, interspersed with that, we have Triangle Strategy. I'm much more conflicted about Triangle Strategy. You know, I want to love Triangle Strategy, but it makes it so hard for me to love. Obviously, I like tactical strategy games like that. I like Final Fantasy Tactics. I like XCOM. Probably some other examples I'm not thinking of. But I like them generally because I like being super powerful. I like seeing shit just get decimated. And Triangle Strategy is very much in the vein of not letting you decimate shit. It's very particular about its sort of difficulty curve. Everything is maintained at an even level, and you're not allowed to bend that difficulty curve in any way. You know? Specifically, you can't grind your way out of the difficulty curve. I mean, you can, but it's so tedious. Even for someone like me, it's too much. So, it's meant to just emphasize sort of tactical skill. over any sort of power fantasy. And that's a bummer, because as much as I like these kind of games, I'm not very good at them. And so that's why I like grinding and just destroying everything, because then it's just fun. Not to, like, absurd levels or anything, but to the point of just, it's easy. Now, there is, however, I think, an easy difficulty mode that I could just flip on, and then we could just play on easy mode. But that feels so much worse to me. It feels like such a cop-out. So, that's a tough sell. Yes, thank you. My eyes are burning. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's got a lot going for it, but it doesn't have a lot of, like, character customization. In fact, it has almost no character customization. The only character customization is choosing what characters you send into the battle. And I think you're meant to, like, because the XP penalty for being above a level, the recommended level, is so high, and the XP bonus for being below the recommended level is so high, I think they intend for you to just keep all of your characters at the recommended level or around there. And so then, when you're going into any sort of specific battle, you choose which characters best fit the bill for that specific fight. That's how I think they meant for it to go. I don't know. I don't know. I'm conflicted. I might have to watch a video of someone doing this current battle that I'm on. Just, like, seeing how they do it. Because clearly I'm kind of missing something. And I mean, if I drop triangle strategy, we'd basically replace it with probably Fallout stuff. Fallout 2. Tough. Really have to, like, get in there underneath it to avoid the damage. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But Elden Ring obviously is a constant, so no worries about that. On Wednesday, the variety stream, we did... I'll think of it. I'll think of what we did. indie game, I think. Planet Crafter, that's what it was. Hey, Sebastian. Yeah, Planet Crafter. Pleasant enough little game, but not really anything incredible. Yeah, last night, since there wasn't a Two Brothers play, we did seafood. We did a few hours of seafood. Okay, yep, that's not a good position, I guess. Seems kind of vague. Seafood was pretty cool. Very, very stylish, very flashy, very cool looking. The first stage especially was just pretty hype. But then it got pretty difficult. Got pretty damn difficult. And I actually, afterwards, I watched a YouTube video of someone playing through the whole game without dying. So they ended the game at age 20. Very impressive stuff, obviously. It's quite the feat. It seemed like, from what I was gathering, most of the time they were doing parries. So they were just doing, like, hyper-specific, like, blocks. And obviously parrying is the best, if possible, because that helps stagger your opponent and makes them more likely to just get insta-killed. Much like Sekiro, obviously, you want to parry everything rather than blocking everything. So, like, looking at a couple of the boss fights, seemed like a lot of parrying and occasional, like, specific attacks of their enemy, the boss's combos, they would then avoid. Because it must have been too difficult or not possible to parry or something like that. And apparently, for those that did watch some of the footage, some of the stream, apparently, if you stagger each boss twice, but you don't, like, finish them off, you're given the option to spare the boss. And if you spare all 5 bosses, that's how you get the true ending of the game. So, they did that with no deaths. I mean, it's pretty impressive. That's how you know you've really mastered a game. I don't know where you go from there. I guess no hit, but... And I saw that someone completed a no-hit playthrough of Elden Ring, actually. Did a no-hit run-through. Not 100% or anything. It was any percent. So the run was like 3 hours long, and mainly consisted of them having the Moonveil Katana with its overpowered weapon art, and they used a staff with rock sling a little bit, and basically, you know, killed every boss as quickly as possible. But it still showed quite a bit of skill. They did not take any sort of damage whatsoever. So that's cool. Yeah, so... Elden Ring will continue. Triangle strategy. There will be at least one more video. I might try easy mode and see how it goes. We'll do something on Wednesday, maybe that Weird West game or whatever that was that came out. Looks pretty interesting. And then hopefully next Saturday, Two Brothers Play back in business. Over on the Exploring series, released a video on SCP-6800, the White Ashes. This is the one that I said I didn't think was that incredible of an SCP, but it was alright. Ended up getting quite a few negative comments from what I read about how the SCP was just not really good. Some people were more polite than others about it. And yeah, I mean, it's tricky. Obviously, I gravitate towards big, long SCP. That's just kind of what I prefer in general, and I think it's just makes for better videos for the channel. Shorter ones get covered in the compilation stuff, but I prefer the big, epic ones. And yeah, not every big, epic SCP is written by DJ Cactus or Rounder House. You know, there's going to be varying degrees. So it is what it is. Not every video is going to be gold. Oh yeah, I forgot this. Fuck you, man. But I also released another video this week. The April Fool's Day special. I had been pretty vague on this channel leading up to it. I had said that it at least partially involved whispering. Obviously, that was an understatement. What is this? Oh, yeah, info weapon, of course. Yeah, whispering for long periods of time. Not the easiest thing. And I never would have thought. I mean, most people don't whisper much in their daily lives. I don't think I've ever really spent almost any amount of time whispering. But it actually is a bit of a rough thing on your vocal cord. I mean, maybe it's different for some other people. Maybe whispering not that bad, but yeah, I found it to be rough. So I actually have quite a bit of respect for like ASMR channels that will, like, the only one I've ever really watched is Goodnight Moon, and she'll go for like 2 hours straight. And I think what she does is more like soft talking, which is probably a lot easier. Actual whispering is tricky. I was debating before I recorded. I was like, should I do a whisper or should I just do like a very low kind of, just a slow talking kind of voice? Maybe I should have done the low talking, but I think the whispering is more ridiculous, and that's why I went for it. You don't know what you expected. It certainly wasn't that. Perfect. That's exactly what I want to hear. That's what I said. I said no one's going to expect this, and that's why I'm doing it. I want every April Fool's video I do to be completely unexpected. Because people have been like, oh, you should do another Scooby-Doo video. Like, review, you know, one of the other Scooby-Doo movies, animated movies that came out a while back. It's like, no, I've done that. That's done. People, there's at least one person out there that is maybe expecting me to do that. And that's not allowed. It has to be unexpected. So yeah, I mean, I didn't release it to Patreon beforehand. This was just a complete surprise to everyone. And as I expected, though, as I said, when I said it before, we were going to have a wide gamut of reactions. I said there would be people that just utterly hated it and just turn it off within 3 seconds. I said there would be people that would just give it, like, you know, a little bit of a chance and be like, huh, that's pretty funny that he actually did this. I'm not going to watch it, of course. That's ridiculous. And I said there would be people that would love it and wish for me to do a lot more of it. Now, what I didn't expect, and I really should have, I don't know what I was thinking. I didn't expect how many people would say, oh, it's a bummer you didn't do this with just a normal voice. And I keep forgetting that I always like to think that my audience and the audience of people that actually, like, contributed to that list, I like to think that that's two different groups of people, but there's definitely overlap. There are people out there that actually think that list is, like, humorous. And I wanted to post something and be like, I'm absolutely never doing that list for the normal boys, because I think it's one of the worst things on the entire site. But I don't want to hurt anyone's feeling. But, yeah, I mean, it's so cringy. It's so utterly cringy, and that's why I picked it for an SCP ASMR video. I think a lot of people just are not, like, cognizant of April Fool's Day, though. It's kind of weird. Like, I got a lot of comments from people that legitimately thought this was, like, a serious video I'm doing, and, like, I'm gonna do more of them. Even after, I mean, I made a post. I pinned a comment on the video, like, this is terrible. This is not meant to be anything, you know. You shouldn't like this video. Happy April Fool's Day. Even after I posted, I still get comments from people that are like, oh god, don't ever do this again, please. This is, I really hope this is a joke or something. It's like, what? You did. So it's like, is it my best, most clever April Fool's Day video ever? No, obviously not. And that's why I told people, I told you to temper your expectations. Um, but it wasn't much work, and that was the primary motivator. Because I didn't have to write anything. I'm very apprehensive about writing my own scripts. And, I mean, I've shown that I can do it. Because I just came up with the Scooby-Doo thing. I came up with the Teletubbies thing. I can do it, but I don't know, man. It's a lot of pressure. So I mean, view count wise, it's done pretty well for itself, and that's only because it's an SCP video, technically. But yeah, I guess I'd like to get an April Fool's video that is actually funny and not just funny in concept. That's why I say I think some people just click on it and be like, okay, that's funny, he did this, and then click off. Because that's it. That's the joke, is that it's a funny concept that I actually did it. It's not really a funny video, unless you actually like Dr. Brightlist. And actually, Linus Tech Tips this year did sort of the same thing, where they made a video that was funny in concept, but not actually funny to watch, in my opinion, again. Whereas in past years, I think they've done more videos that are a bit actually funny. But this year, their April Fool's Day video was like a 15-minute video. And basically all it was 15 minutes of ad sponsorship segues. Like, they just went, like, ostensibly, the video was about, like, reviewing some sort of product. But they never actually got to it because they kept segueing to different ad sponsorships. That's a video that I think is just funny in concept that they actually did that. But I couldn't get through it, you know. I was just like, okay, I got the joke. We're all good. That's funny. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe next year. Maybe next year. Damn. Almost killed him. Yeah, so that was it. That was it. The video that I worked on for this week, though, is titled Chaos Theory. And this one is all about pataphysics. All about like deep pataphysics. Pataphysics just like injected into your brain. And you just have to put up with it. Pataphysics so deep it makes you think you're living in a story. That's how deep it is. Yeah, okay, this is problematic. There's a lot of angry skeletons. And I don't know if I have the time to kill them all. I need to kill this dude. There you go. Done. So yeah, it's like I don't remember how long it is. 50 minutes or something like that. 50 minutes of pure pataphysics. Um and actually just like reading the article yourself, it is dense. I mean, mine is a summary with explanation, but reading the actual document yourself, oh boy. There's a lot of jargon. So I think it's another kind of divisive one. Not because it's shit, but because it's so... It's so not like Series 1. It's like anti-Series 1, essentially. You know, if you like SCP because of things like the infinite stairs and, you know, the statue and the old man, you know, these are just mysterious, simple horrors. You know, you're gonna be at odds when it comes to pataphysics, which is so... I mean, it's super interesting. I do not dislike pataphysics. It's so, like, just sci-fi, like, living in a simulation kind of shit of just, like, oh, man, just peeling apart the layers of reality. It's so interesting. And chaos theory, specifically, is so fucking impressively written. Just from, like, a technical standpoint of all the jargon and all the concepts and just, like, the technical writing that is in there, it's insane. Like, I'm insanely impressed by it. At the same time, though, it's almost just, like, it's too complicated for its own good. Like, let me just read a section of chaos theory to you. There's one that I just completely skipped over in the summary because it's like, I don't understand this, you're not going to understand this, let's just move over this. Okay. God, even looking at it now, it's like, even after doing the whole video and explaining everything, I still am just like, what the fuck is this? This is just text on a screen for text purposes. Alright. I don't even know if I can, like, explain the context to you, really. So a lot of the chaos theory is about narratives, right? It's about stories. And so one of the main things brought up is, like, a hero's journey, which is, like, the kind of, what do they call it? The monomyth. Yeah. The common template of stories that involve a hero who goes on an adventure, is victorious in a decisive crisis, and comes home changed or transformed. So this is like the hero's journey, you know, that's like the complete archetypical story format, you know, where a character has a call to an adventure, and they pass from the known world into the unknown world. They have mentors and helpers. They overcome challenges. They come to some sort of revelation, and they kind of metaphorically or literally die and are reborn. And throughout that, the character itself is transformed, and then they return home. You know, that's the very just archetypical hero's journey story format. So chaos theory kind of brings that up. And then they're playing around with this other pocket universe. And this pocket universe is, like, super simplified from a narrative standpoint. It's like the most basic narrative universe possible. So the common sort of archetypical story structure in this pocket universe, which is way simplified, is as follows. General eight-step cyclical alpha abstraction. A character rests in a known state, is motivated to change its state, enters an unknown state, searches to enact said change, locates a vessel to allow said inaction, retrieves said vessel at significant cost, returns to the known world, having enacted its desired changes. Okay, now that part I include in the video. What I didn't include is this following section. Corresponding to 8 categories of Imaginon particle. 0. Nullinon. Neutral narrative particle. 0 spin. 1. Motivon. Chain structure initializer. Unidirectional spin. 2. Exploron. Binds with motivons to yield resolvons. Bidirectional spin. 3. Resolvon. Bidirectionally motivates structural resolution, producing 4. McGuffion. Omnidirectional linked high-density particles composed of complex motivon-resolvon chains. 5. Sacrion. Bidirectionally linked particle necessary for formation of 6. Returnon. Unidirectionally linked reintegrates Imaginon structures with macro narrative. 7. Cadential boson. Theoretical particle responsible for the cadential field, through which narrative energy is released following the successful execution of alpha-aligned story structures. It's just insane. Like, I don't even know. It doesn't, like, that text that I all just read, that does not actually contribute in any way to the overarching story of this SCP. It's just like, it's just pure flavor text. But, my God, I mean, that's, again, that's just a part of it. And so, a big section of the article is like this paper written by the head of pataphysics. And I read it out entirely, and then I explain it to the best of my ability. But just reading it out loud in the video, it's just like, no one, who's gonna get this? It's crazy. It's crazy. It's, again, it's so impressively written, but it's too much. When a greater than or equal to 2-dimensional character imagines a non-real scenario, its pataphysical intent becomes encrypted as narrative data. This narrative intent particle, dubbed the Imaginon, exists simultaneously in all narratively lower dimensions, projecting into that universe's total Imaginon structure. Imaginons of different types react to create narrative structures, which combine into larger narrative structures, and so on. So anyways, it's insanely impressive, but also I can see that it not being everybody's cup of tea. And the basic summary of the SCP is that the Foundation wants to bring some dead guy back to life. They decide to use this interesting method of writing a short story about the guy set in this other universe, and then they go to this other universe where he exists, and they bring him back. Except, by doing that, basically they corrupt the other universe, and everything's fucked. That's the basic summary, but to be fair, there's a lot more going on. I think I do a good enough job of explaining it, but I don't know if I do a perfect job explaining it. For one, the character being brought back is Director King, and Director King apparently, again, I'm not, it's tough, you know. I try to stay on top of as much of SCP concepts and like storylines and things like that as I can, or as I care to. But there's just so much. There's so many authors writing so many little niches and then they kind of carry those concepts into other pieces that I and many other people get exposed to. But then, you know, if you're not fully involved, so like Director King apparently has something to do with apple seeds, and he really hates apple seeds or something. I left that completely out because I don't get it. I don't care to dive into that much because overall it does not impact the SCP. And truth be told, I don't even really explain pataphysics in the video. I mentioned at the start, like, this is heavy in pataphysics. So there's a big assumption going in that you know what that is, and you watched my pataphysics video. But yeah, it's a big, juicy article. So I don't know. I don't know if people will be interested or not. It's one of the most dense things I've ever covered on the channel, I think. Just like as a single article. But it's cool though. It's not that highly rated, to be honest. It's only rated at 135. Part of that is it's fairly new. It's from November, I think, or maybe... Yeah, November. But I think part of it is due to the density of it. It's just complicated. A lot of people are going to bounce off the article. And part of the reason that I did it is because it's part of this mini-series called Admonition, I think. Unless I have that wrong. No, Admonition. The first one of which was 6820, Termination Attempt, where they tried to destroy SCP-682 once and for all, and it didn't go well. And I think the next one that I'm going to be covering is the following SCP in that series, in which they basically create a weapon just to kill gods. And that goes also poorly. So I think it's overall a mini-series about just like big, lofty ideas that go terribly for the Foundation. So yeah, good stuff. Yeah. So that's that. I guess that's about it. All right. So this week, this channel, plenty of Elden Ring. At least one more video of Triangle Strategy. We'll see if I really want to stick with it. Weird West, is that the name of that game? Probably. Yeah, Weird West, most likely on Wednesday. We're gonna look at that. It's not cheap though. It's $40. So it's a bigger thing. And honestly, I don't even know what it's about or what it's really what the gameplay is. Apparently it's like 20 hours long. I don't know. We'll take a look at it, I suppose. Next Saturday, hopefully more Elden Ring co-op with Lego on Two Brothers Play. On the Exploring series, we've got Chaos Theory, big epic pataphysics going on. And that'll do us. Alright. My name is Mangg. This has been Hanging with Mangg. See you fine folks next week.